Hi everyone, welcome to Kate's Fashion Flips. My name is Kate and I'm a part-time online reseller who mostly resells clothing. And in today's video, I wanted to share 4 reseller resolutions that I'm taking with me for my business into 2026. 2026 is tomorrow. Not sure when I'm going to edit this video and post it, but it will be either before the new year or very soon after the new year has come. I am decked out all in sparkly gear because it is New Year's Eve today and I'm headed to a New Year's Eve party tonight. But if I'm being honest, I've never liked New Year's Eve or New Year's Day because I struggle with mental health problems. And so a new year has never felt like an exciting time. I've always celebrated and, tried to be ecstatic and match everyone else's energy about the new year. But really, New Year's has never been like something that I've been excited about. But what I'm doing this year that I didn't do last year is making reseller resolutions. And that's what this video is all about. And so I've been thinking the past couple of days, what are some reseller resolutions, things that I can change or improve about my business to make more money, save time, and be more successful in 2026? And so I came up with 4 that I wanted to share with you guys today. And we're going to dive into each one. Not super lengthy to have this video be super long. The video that blew up on my channel, which was my talking about whatnot video, a lot of people said, oh my goodness, you just, you drag on with your talking on and on. But I guess that's how you drag out a video. But I will not try to, make this video super long and talkative. I just want to get straight to the point of what my reseller resolutions are. And I'm not going to stress myself out with them because that's been another reason why I have never liked making resolutions in the past because it stresses me out, right? I'm always in survival mode because of my mental health struggles. And so trying to come up with even just one resolution has stressed me the F out. But I am not stressed out about these reseller resolutions because not only is reselling my job, but it's also my hobby, which is good because I do not have time for hobbies being a part-time reseller and a mom. I used to read, I used to sometimes occasionally paint. I have not done that since I started reselling back in October 2023. I've done it maybe once or twice, a hobby of some kind. But with that being said, let's dive into the first reseller resolution, which is I am going to start sourcing 90% of the time at the Goodwill outlet. And I thought about changing my business model to strictly sourcing from the Goodwill outlet for a while now, but I was the only one holding myself back simply because the Goodwill outlet compared to normal thrift stores is highly contrastive, right? For many reasons, but one in particular, which is when I walk into a thrift store, I'm relaxed, I'm excited, there's music playing. All the sections are organized either by size or category, right? And I'm just chilling. I have my cart. There's always a cart available. I don't have to worry about a cart. There's not this franticness in the air, right? There's not this stress. There's not this rush in the air. It's a good time. But when I go to the Goodwill outlet and when I anticipate going to the Goodwill outlet, I'm stressed. And you can actually feel it when you walk into the Goodwill outlet. There is just this sense of rush. And if you expect people to be kind at the Goodwill outlet, you are sorely mistaken. I have men in particular, because I feel like I expect a typical behavior from men who are, over the age of 18. I expect them to be respectful towards me, right? As a woman and woman, I expect everyone to be respectful towards me. But that all goes away at the Goodwill outlet, right? It is every person for themselves, right? People know that there is wealth to be had. And I've had some amazing flips from stuff that I found in the Goodwill outlet. And so people who their full-time job is reselling clothing from the bins, right? That's their income. And so of course there's this franticness in the air because that is how they pay for maybe not just themselves, but for their families. And so there's there's a difference between going to the Goodwill outlet and going to a regular thrift store. But if I can switch from sourcing 90% of the time at the Goodwill outlet, I can cut down on my cost of goods significantly. I mean, significantly. And not only that, but I find brands at the Goodwill outlet that I never find anywhere else. Any other thrift store, I go to different thrift stores around me all the time, and there are still brands that I find at the Goodwill outlet that I have to look up, and they are amazing bolos. And I think, why do I never find these brands at thrift stores? And it's probably because stuff at the bins is stuff that has never been out on the thrift store shelves at Goodwill, and so they're raw donations. And even items that have tags are usually really good pieces. And also the Goodwill outlet is just a great place to find style-based pieces. But the only time I've ever found Johnny was twice at the Goodwill outlet. I've also found a belt from the Goodwill outlet that I flipped for $500. I found a Filson leather briefcase that sold for, I think, like $200 or $250. And so I found some great bolos there. Oh, I've also found an Arc'teryx puffer down-filled vest that even had a logo, and it still sold for like $80 or $90. And so there is a lot of stuff to be had at the Goodwill outlet, right? In terms of inventory that I can't find anywhere else. And it's cheaper, right? So those two reasons alone, right? Like, why wouldn't I mostly source at the Goodwill outlet? But the third reason that I should and have decided to switch to mostly sourcing at the Goodwill outlet is because I can find inventory so much faster. I can be at the Goodwill outlet for about 2 to 2.5 hours, and I can fill my cart and I can have a ton of inventory, and it's also cheaper. And so I get all this inventory for, like, usually I average between $80 and $100 and like $15. So I can have all the inventory for that cheap cost of goods. And it's great, right? Whereas usually when I go to a different thrift store, like a regular thrift store, like the regular Goodwill or Deseret Industries, I will spend the same amount of time, 2 hours to 2.5 hours, and I will come out with only a few bags, having spent more money. So obviously the Goodwill outlet is the better option because I can get all that inventory very, very quickly. So for all those three reasons, like I said, cheaper cost of goods, brands that I never find except for at the Goodwill outlet, and for how much I can get in such a short amount of time, it was a no-brainer, right? I've been thinking about it forever, and I thought, you know what? The New Year's upon us, that's what I'm going to do. I currently have a ton of inventory from sourcing in Idaho, but once I work through all of that, and I also have a few stuff from Ross I got recently. I posted a short on my channel about that. But once I work through all that inventory, the next place that I'm sourcing, and will source after that, is going to be the Goodwill outlet, and it's going to be an adventure. It's definitely going to be harder to do thrift with me's, although I don't usually do a lot of thrift with me's on my channel, except I did a lot when I did my Vlogmas Thriftmas series. But I'm not going to cut out going to the thrift store entirely because I do enjoy it. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to go to the thrift store maybe like once a month. That's what I decided, to go once a month. And for my business, I'll probably need to source 2 to 3 times a week at the bins to keep up with my listing goals for the new year, which I'm not going to talk about in this video. But that's how often I'm going to need to source at the Goodwill outlet. And so one of those times, one of the weeks per month, I will go to a thrift store. And I probably won't always vlog it because thrifting is fun, right? I want to take that one trip I take to the regular thrift store per month for me, time to enjoy myself. And I'm going to make sure that that one time I go to the thrift store per month, the regular thrift store, I just take myself, right? I don't take my daughters. I don't take anyone, I just go by myself, maybe plug some music into my ears and just chill and thrift and source from the regular thrift store. But that is what I'm going to do. That's my plan. And hopefully it pans out. I do have a few kinks to work out because I am a full-time mom. But my daughter is in preschool 2 days a week. Is just a little bit tricky because her preschool is from like 12 to 2. And I'm fortunate because my Goodwill outlet is only like 20 minutes away from me. But if I leave right after I drop my daughter off from preschool, get there at like 12:20 and then get settled by 12:25, that only gives me like an hour to actually shop before I have to check out and drive to pick my daughter up. And so it's going to be kind of, interesting to figure out when I'm going to go to the Goodwill outlet. But I foresee myself going to the Goodwill outlet after my husband gets home from work, and I'm probably going to miss a lot of rotations, but I still find a lot of good stuff at the bins, even after all the rotations are done for the day. So that is my first reseller resolution. I wanted to dive deep into that one because it is going to be a huge shift for my business. Reseller resolution number 2 kind of ties into the first one, but I am no longer going to go to Savers thrift store, also known as Value Village, simply because they're too expensive, right? They have outpriced my business, and I feel like I've been going to Savers a lot lately the past couple of months, and I always try to have something I can donate so I can get their 20% off coupon. But even still, every clothing category is more expensive than at any other thrift store. I am paying more than $10 for every single dress, even with a coupon, that I find at the Goodwill outlet. Also, my cost of goods for shoes is more expensive. And when I'm at Savers, there are a lot of pieces that I have to pass up on because even with a 20% off coupon, I don't want to pay that much for inventory, right? And there are a lot of sections I have to skip at Savers thrift stores because I know that I'm not going to find anything there. And so I never look in the men's jeans section at Savers because for some reason they price men's jeans at Savers like the same prices they price men's jeans at Ross. You can literally get cheaper jeans brand new at Ross than you can used jeans at Savers because they like to price up men's Carhartt jeans to like $16.50, right? And so a lot of the men's categories at Savers is just not worth it at all. And so although I like Savers, I just know that although I enjoy it, I just don't want to do that for my business anymore. I don't want to spend up because I want to go to Savers, right? And I know if I use the excuse, I'll just go shopping for myself, that because I'm already in Savers, I'm going to look in the other sections. My reseller glasses are going to be on. And so I'm just not going to go to Savers thrift store anymore. I'm not going to support them anymore. And it's not out of like spite for them. It's just because it's not good for my business anymore, and they're not even a nonprofit. And so, yeah, bye-bye Savers, bye-bye Value Village. I'm no longer going to put my hard-earned dollars and my sourcing time and money into Savers because there are a lot of pieces I have to pass up, like I said, and because of the extra cost. Reseller resolution number 3 is that I'm no longer going to stay up late working. So I'm a full-time mom, like I've said that. I feel like weird saying full-time mom, but that's just what I am, right? Like you are still a full-time mom if you put your kids in daycare, but I feel like it's a little bit different, right? There is no daycare for me, right? I don't have a nanny. I don't have any daycare, right? And props to moms who have that, but I'm not going to pay for daycare for my kids because that's extra expensive, right? That would take away, a lot of what I make from reselling would go into daycare. And my 2 daughters are manageable for me, but I have to find some time to put into my business. And so usually that is after my daughters go to bed. But then it's usually even later than after I put them to bed because I will either, spend some time chilling, scrolling on my phone, trying to veg, trying to chillax from, the day. And then I will go do reseller work, or I'll spend time with my husband first. And then I will go do reseller work. And by then it's already like 9-10 p.m. And I will try to take pictures of like 15 to 20 items, list those 15 to 20 items, and then cross-list those all same night. And I end up staying up until like 1 and 2. And then I want to veg on my phone some more, chilling before I have to go to bed. No more. This is not good. I've been doing this for months and months and months. And honestly, it's not good because then the next day I'm tired and I'm not as good of a mom as I can be. And I don't feel like doing any reseller work until the afternoon, evening again, where I feel like I've recovered enough from staying up late the night before. And so I'm not going to stay up late doing reseller work anymore. I need to, figure out when's another time I can do reseller work, right? Maybe I need to find a time during the day when I can do reseller work, or I decide to take pictures during the day and then towards the nighttime after like 9-10 p.m., I do listing and cross-listing, and then I can be in bed by 12. That's my goal, is to be head on the pillow, covers over my body, by 12, which may seem super late to other people, but for me, that's early. Like I've been averaging going to bed at like 3 a.m. to 4 a.m., which is not good, right? That's just not sustainable. It's not good for my body. It's not good for my mental health. And overall, it's just not good for my business because, if you're running a business solo by yourself, right? I mean, my husband, he helps me, he supports me, but right, like I do basically everything else in the reseller business. And if my body is not working to its fullest, then I can't perform well and I can't, achieve all the other goals I want to achieve, right? My listing goals and such. And so I'm no longer staying up late to do reseller work, right? I need to figure out another time to do reseller work. And if perhaps in a day I didn't find time to do reseller work, I put my phone down and I say, you know what? We'll pick it back up tomorrow, because I'm fortunate enough not to have a deadline, not to have a boss. And also my reseller money that I make isn't our full-time income. It's mostly just like extra money. And so I'm fortunate enough with that to where I need to prioritize me, my health, and my family first. So that's my third reseller resolution. And then my fourth final reseller resolution is that I'm going to get clean. I'm going to get tidy because let me tell you, I'm kind of a messy person. I have to be honest. I try not to be, but I've kind of just like accepted the chaos, the mess, and that also does take a toll on your mental health and does affect your business. My husband actually specializes in lean, which I don't know what that stands for, but basically it's like productivity within the business, right? Cutting down on costs and time to make more money and save time in the long run and overall have it be better for your business. That's literally his job at work. And I'm fortunate enough that he can do that for me, but I also need to be able to maintain that. And so currently right now, my husband actually surprised me. It's so sweet. I came down like an hour before making this video, and this fourth resolution has been on my mind, and he started cleaning up my reseller room, organizing it for me. And I was just like, that's so sweet. But I want to continue cleaning it up and maintain it, right? It can be so easy to just try to get the stuff done that you need to, but I need to stay tidy, stay clean, right? I have filmed a lot of videos right here on my desk, and in the background, there has been that clothing rack with men's clothing from a Whatnot show that I ran months ago, okay? And finally, my husband put that away for me. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Finally, my husband put that away for me and he cleaned it up, and I have this clean background and the floor is looking good. He even looked on Amazon for a purse rack so we can hang that up in these two closets that I have. And so my purses are off the floor. He's going to help me build another rack. And so I don't have any boxes of clothing on the ground anymore. He's just working his lean magic, his business manager magic. And I'm just, I'm excited for what this next year is going to bring for reselling. And I really just need to stay tidy. I haven't vacuumed this room in like a year, so I need to vacuum that. I'm going to pick up so many tags with the vacuum. This is the trash can I have, actually. It's right here. And I think I need to get a bigger one because I'm constantly dumping this thing out. And so I need to get a bigger trash can. But otherwise, yeah, I think I can maintain a clean space. I just can't, do the little things to where it snowballs into a big thing, right? So don't put anything on the floor, okay? And then if you maintain doing the small things to keep tidy, then you won't have a big mess at the end. But that is it for my reseller resolutions. I was like, maybe I should come up with 5, but I'm like, I can only think of 4. And I'm not trying to overwhelm myself. I do have listing goals as well, but I'm not making it like a set resolution, right? I'm going to start to implement these 4 first resolutions first. And then once I've, implemented those well, then I can decide, okay, what am I going to list every single day, right? How much am I going to list? Am I going to take a day where I have a break and I don't list anything? I have not listed anything in over a week now. I have been kind of taking a mental health break. And so today, after I'm done making this video, probably going to clean up some more. I have a bunch of bags to donate from my neighbor who I am doing consignment with, but she had a lot of pieces that were not good, so I need to go donate those. But yeah, the new year is tomorrow, and tonight, after the New Year's party that I was talking about, I think I mentioned that because I was talking about my outfit, but after that party, I'm going to come back, I'm going to spend some time with my husband, and then it'll probably be around like 10 or something, and I'm going to take some pictures, and then I'm going to get to bed after 12. I was going to say by 12, but I'm like, no, I'm going to say it because of the new year. But tomorrow night, okay, I'm going to be in bed by 12. I'm going to find a different time in the day to list or take pictures. And I'm not going to go sourcing probably anytime soon because I have a ton of inventory from Idaho and my neighbor, like I said. But thank you so much for joining me for today's reseller video. I know I did lots of blabbing, so sorry if that's not your style, but I really wanted to create a reseller resolutions video, and I encourage you to create your own reseller resolutions. It doesn't have to be 4. Maybe it's just 1, right? But I'm really excited to switch over my business model to sourcing mostly at the bins. We'll see how my mental health does. We'll see how my body does. But I'm able-bodied with it, and I know I can make it happen. And I know that you can make your goals this year happen too, whether it be in business or not. But anyway, hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.